The 1987 film Dirty Dancing, starring Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey, has become a legendary piece of cinema noted for its iconic dance sequences, enduring love story, and a soundtrack that's still played at countless celebrations around the world. But beneath its seemingly effortless charm and romance lies a fascinating production tale full of creative risks, unexpected hurdles, hidden inspirations, and rare anecdotes. Here are 30 little-known surprising facts about Dirty Dancing, from script, casting, and filming quirks to behind-the-scenes tensions and musical miracles that even avid fans may not know. The script was loosely based on real-life experiences of Eleanor Bergstein. Eleanor Bergstein, the screenwriter of Dirty Dancing, drew heavily from her own life for the film's setting, characters, and themes. Growing up in a Jewish family in Brooklyn, Bergstein spent her summers at Catskill resorts. Just like the character Baby, her father was a doctor mirrored by Baby's father, and she was nicknamed Baby into her early 20s. She not only loved dance, she competed in Dirty Dancing contests during her teens, providing vivid observational detail to the film's depiction of 1960s social and class dynamics. The character of Johnny Castle was inspired by Mambo legend Michael Terrace. Johnny Castle was not a purely fictional creation. His character was based in part on Michael Terrace, a renowned dancer and teacher from the Palladium Ballroom, and later in the Catskills. When researching, Bergstein interviewed hundreds of dance instructors from the era, but Terrace's stories about teaching mambo to vacationers and the working-class realities of dance staff life directly inspired Johnny's world. Before Dirty Dancing, MGM sent the script to development hell. Although initially developed at MGM, a shift in studio management sent the project, which had been optioned as a low-budget, coming-of-age dance film, into turnaround, also known as development hell. Major studios repeatedly rejected it, with some calling it juvenile and others balking at both the political themes and the open sexuality. It was only when Vestron Pictures, a home video company trying to break into feature films, took a risk that the film got its green light. The movie's title was nearly changed due to censorship fears. The original working title was I Was a Teenage Mambo Queen, and later just Dirty Dancing, a phrase Bergstein used to describe her childhood dance contests. However, studio censors feared that Dirty Dancing would imply a pornographic film. Shipments of the daily film reels, dailies, were even held up at the Canadian border over concerns about the title, leading the creative team to consider alternatives before fiercely fighting to keep the now iconic name. The budget was less than half the standard for the era because the major studios all passed. Vestron Pictures would only finance Dirty Dancing on the condition that its budget be slashed below $5 million. The final cost landed between $4.50 and $6 million, astonishingly modest even in 1987, especially compared to the average $12 million cost for other wide-release films at the time. Lake Lure, North Carolina, and Mountain Lake, Virginia, stand in for the Catskills, although the film is set in New York's Catskill Mountains. By the mid-80s, most Borscht Belt resorts were closed or crumbling. The production instead merged to distinct southern locations. Exteriors and many dance scenes were shot at a now vanished Boys Camp on Lake Lure, North Carolina, while Mountain Lake Lodge in Virginia served as Kellerman's main hotel. Editing tricks made it appear as one continuous locale. The crew had to spray paint the leaves green. Filming began in early September and ran into late fall. As autumn approached, the leaves in both states began to turn. To maintain continuity for a story set in midsummer, the crew painstakingly spray-painted leaves and grass green on an almost daily basis. You can spot occasional color discrepancies in certain wide shots. The frigid lake made close-ups impossible. The storied lake lift sequence was filmed in late October. The water temperature was so cold that Swayze and Grey's lips turned blue, preventing any close-up shots. Both later admitted that, while the images are now iconic, they were shivering so hard they could barely speak between takes. Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze had heated off-screen tensions. Though their on-screen chemistry sizzled, in reality, the pair had a strained relationship. Their tension stemmed from filming Red Dawn several years earlier, where Grey found Swayze's pranks and macho behavior overwhelming. Grey initially begged the producers to choose anyone else for Johnny. Only after an intense private talk before filming did the two agree to work together. Their genuine clashes on set were sometimes reflected in the film's more antagonistic scenes. Their legendary screen test changed everything. The screen chemistry test between Swayze and Grey is the stuff of Hollywood legend. When Swayze lifted Grey for the first time in their audition, the room fell silent. Both the director and producers immediately saw that their palpable tension, half friction, half attraction, was breathtaking, and it ultimately secured both actors their roles, despite prior misgivings. The infamous ticklish scene was a genuine outtake, one of the most beloved scenes in Dirty Dancing, where Johnny traces Baby's arm as she giggles uncontrollably, was not scripted. Jennifer Grey truly was ticklish, and Patrick Swayze truly was frustrated after more than 20 takes. Choreographer Kenny Ortega later revealed that Swayze's irritated glare was 100% real. The director decided to keep the footage, trusting that the authentic, awkward energy matched the character's dynamic beautifully. Multiple iconic moments were born from improvisation. Other classic moments sprang from real rehearsal room shenanigans. The Love is Strange dance, where Gray and Swayze crawl and goof around on the studio floor, was actual footage of the actors warming up and improvising before shooting a formal take. Recognizing the authenticity and spark, the director included it in the film unmodified. The cast had to endure a legendary series of mishaps some called the set cursed. From day one of filming, the shoot was plagued by bad luck, property theft, vehicles crashing into each other, food poisoning, sprained ankles, broken wrists, and even wasp attacks. Jennifer Grey was badly stunned. Actress Paula Truman, Mrs. Schumacher, collapsed from heat stroke, while the makeup artist broke her wrist and 2 fingers. Some crew members genuinely feared the film was cursed descents, exacerbated by the grueling shooting conditions. Billy Zane, Val Kilmer, and Benicio del Toro were all almost Johnny Castle. The search for Johnny Castle was extensive. Among those seriously considered were Billy Zane, who auditioned with Jennifer Grey, Val Kilmer, who declined out of concerns about typecasting as a hunk, and even a young Benicio del Toro. Producers only switched to Swayze after other combinations failed to spark the needed chemistry with Grey. Swayze's previous knee injury and resistance to being pigeonholed as a dance actor almost cost him the job. The choosing of Swayze hinged on his hooded eyes. Screenwriter Eleanor Bergstein specifically requested hooded eyes for Johnny Castle's she considered dangerous, sad, and alluring. While thumbing through headshots, she singled out Swayze based on his gaze, before confirming he could dance at the necessary level. Patrick Swayze insisted on doing every dance and stunt himself. Despite having a football injury that left him with almost no cartilage in one knee, Swayze refused to use any body doubles for the physically demanding routines, including the notorious log balancing scene. He aggravated his old injury badly during filming, requiring repeated draining of his knee to remove fluid. Doctors advised him to stop, but he persisted so every dance shot would look authentic. Grey was 26 playing 17, Swayze was 34 playing 25. Much of the emotional truth of the film comes from the actor's experience. Yet Jennifer Grey played Frances Baby Houseman as a high school senior at age 26, and Swayze played 25-year-old Johnny at age 34. Makeup, lighting, and costuming helped sell their youthful looks on screen as standard practice, but more extreme than many realize. The role of Baby almost went to Sarah Jessica Parker or Winona Ryder. Dozens of future stars auditioned to play Baby. Sarah Jessica Parker, Sharon Stone, and Winona Ryder all made it to the final selection rounds. However, Grey's blend of innocence and rebellion, plus her real-life connection to Oscar-winning dancer Joel Grey, her father, convinced the director she was the only Baby for the part. Swayze pushed Grey to stay on the film. Due to their previous friction on Red Dawn, Grey initially resisted working with Swayze, even after being cast. Swayze privately pleaded with her, promising they could kill it together. A pivotal talk, which left both in tears, rescued Swayze's audition and solidified the pair as the movie's romantic leads, despite the continuing love, hate, tension. Kelly Bishop was recast into Baby's mother at the last minute. Broadway star Kelly Bishop, famous for a chorus line and later Gilmore Girls, was originally hired as Vivian the Bungalow Bunny. When the original Mrs. Houseman fell ill, Bishop was asked to move into the larger mom role, with assistant choreographer Miranda Garrison stepping up to play Vivian. This reshuffle, just days before shooting key scenes, lent a spontaneous energy to the family dynamic on screen. Dr. Ruth declined a cameo when she realized she'd play a thief. Famed sex therapist Dr. Ruth Westheimer was offered the cameo of Mrs. Schumacher but turned it down upon discovering she'd have to portray a hotel guest caught stealing wallets. The part instead went to 89-year-old Paula Truman. A young Wayne Knight, later of Seinfeld, played a supporting role. Before becoming famous as Newman on Seinfeld, Wayne Knight played Stan, the fast-talking master of ceremonies at Kellerman's. The part marked Knight's first major speaking role in a feature film, showcasing the depth of talent in the supporting cast. Choreographer Kenny Ortega and his team helped shape every frame. Kenny Ortega, who had trained with Gene Kelly, approached Dirty Dancing not just as a series of dance numbers, but as a metaphor for emotional discovery and social awakening. Ortega physically got into the lake and on the dance floor with the actors, customizing the choreography to fit the personalities and strengths and limitations of each lead. His work has since influenced countless movie musicals, including High School Musical and Hocus Pocus. Cost-saving lead to housing the crew and cast at the actual shooting location. To control costs, the budget required that everyone, cast's crew, production staff, live together at Mountain Lake Lodge or nearby cabins. This not only wallpapered over the modest means of the production, but created a summer camp-style environment that sometimes caused as many conflicts as camaraderie. The big finale song was chosen just before filming. The film's final dance number nearly used a different track. In fact, the No Classic I've Had, The Time of My Life, was not settled on until the night before filming the finale. The song, suggested as the last option in a box full of tapes, would go on to win the Academy Award for Best Original Song. the Golden Globe and a Grammy, and it provided the soundtrack for countless weddings and celebrations ever since. Patrick Swayze co-wrote and performed She's Like the Wind. Swayze not only starred as Johnny Castle, he contributed musically to the film. He co-wrote and performed She's Like the Wind, originally penned for a different movie. The track became a massive hit, reaching number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and helping launch Swayze's brief but memorable career as a pop singer. The soundtrack spurred an unexpected oldies revival. The blockbuster soundtrack with songs like Hungry Eyes, Eric Carmen, Do You Love Me, and the Bill Medley Jennifer Warnes duet sold over 32 million copies, spent 18 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard 200 and ignited a resurgence in interest for oldies and Motown tracks in the late 80s. More Dirty Dancing, a follow-up album, also went multi-platinum. The final lift in the dance was never actually rehearsed. Jennifer Grey insisted she was too scared to practice the final lift before the famous last scene. The version you see in the film is the first and only time Grey performed it with Swayze's, adding a layer of thrilling uncertainty and authenticity to the climactic number. The 1997 re-release was the result of a Conan O'Brien gag. After the success of the Star Wars re-release, late-night host Conan O'Brien facetiously asked his viewers to write letters demanding a theatrical return for Dirty Dancing. The influx of requests led to a real reissue in hundreds of theaters for the 10th anniversary. O'Brien later admitted he didn't actually care much for the movie, but the campaign became a unique footnote in its legacy. The Stone Steps Knot, the bridge are the only surviving filming site at Lake Lure. Fans visiting Lake Lure can still find the iconic stone staircase where Baby practiced her mambo, but the famous dancing bridge was dismantled by fans and is now gone. The gymnasium used for the final dance burned down years later. However, wood from its floor was salvaged and used in the lobby of the Esmeralda in offering fans a tangible connection to a vanished movie set. Each of these lesser-known facts contributes to the enduring appeal and mythos surrounding Dirty Dancing. The film's popularity did not emerge from studio hype or a blockbuster budget instead. It survived through creative improvisation, resourcefulness, and the interplay of conflict and collaboration on set. Behind-the-scenes struggles, budget constraints, unscripted moments, and even actors' real-life injuries all helped produce a unique cinematic alchemy. More importantly, the production is deep grounding in the realities and nostalgia of its creators. Its explicit roots in social observation and lived experience gave Dirty Dancing an emotional authenticity rarely seen in studio-produced romances. The triumphant cultural afterlife of both the movie and its music underscores how risk-taking and serendipity can deliver works that are bold, memorable, and beloved across generations. Dirty Dancing remains not just a dance movie, but a fascinating testament to film history's most unexpected turns, and enduring love stories on screen, behind the scenes, and in the lives of everyone touched by its indelible magic.